All right, today we're going to dive into the writings of an author named Xie Feng. And let me tell you, his path to happiness is, well, it's incredibly direct and totally uncompromising. His whole philosophy is really built on one simple, very powerful idea.
And he does not waste any time. I mean, right out of the gate, he makes this incredibly bold claim. He positions himself not as a guide, but as the only guide to a better life. This one statement, it just immediately sets the stage for a worldview that's built on absolute, unshakable certainty.
So you have to wonder, how does someone justify a statement like that? Let's dig in and first explore who this author claims to be and, where he says he gets this authority. He bases his authority on what he calls a complete and thorough understanding of life's biggest, most fundamental concepts. We're talking everything from human nature to the very fabric of time and space. He's essentially asserting a level of mastery that, in his mind, makes him uniquely qualified to lead everyone else.
And he uses this really brilliant metaphor to illustrate the dynamic he's setting up. He sees himself as a genius doctor who has the perfect cure for all human suffering. But, just like any prescription, it's completely useless if the patient, in this case the reader, refuses to actually take the medicine. So the responsibility, he argues, is entirely on you.
Okay, so now that we get his role, let's look at his diagnosis. What exactly is this disease that he claims he can cure? According to him, what's the single root cause of all our pain?
The problem, as he puts it, is something he calls wrong and deformed consciousness. He argues that life itself isn't the issue. The outside world is not what's making you unhappy. Nope. Instead, it's our internal state, our own consciousness that's broken. Think of it like colorblindness. All the beautiful colors of the world are right there, but a deformed consciousness literally prevents you from seeing them.
To make this more concrete, he uses a pretty powerful real-world example. So, when you feel that immense pain of seeing someone you love with someone else, what do you think is the true cause of that pain? His analysis just completely flips conventional thinking on its head. Our instinct is to blame the external situation, right? The people, what they did. But he argues the actual cause is purely internal. It's your own consciousness of possession and jealousy. His whole point is that without those internal feelings, the external event would have no power to make you suffer at all.
So this is the crucial takeaway. For him, there's absolutely no ambiguity. Every single ounce of suffering is self-inflicted. It's a direct result of this internal deformed consciousness. Your happiness isn't being stolen by other people. You are destroying it yourself from the inside out.
So if the problem is internal, well, it stands to reason the solution has to be internal too. And this brings us right to his prescription. You have to change your consciousness.
And here is that prescription laid out as plainly as possible. The one and only path is to stop trying to change the world around you and to focus exclusively on changing your own mind. Complaining about other people or your situation, it's a total waste of time. The work is entirely internal.
And he gets super specific about what has to go. To fix your consciousness, he says you have to abandon what he calls your pitiful self-esteem and your vanity. You need to let go of values that are tied to traditional morality. And, this is a big one, you have to completely kick the habit of finding fault in other people.
This all leads us to the author's conclusion, which really isn't a gentle suggestion. It's a stark, unwavering ultimatum. He basically presents his readers with a very clear, very high-stakes choice.
And the choice is laid out in simple black and white. You can love him and follow his path, and that's a blessing that leads to a beautiful future. Or you can hate him and reject him, and that's a tragedy that will doom you to a sea of misery. There is no middle ground. You're either fortunate and wise for accepting what he says, or you're foolish and ignorant for turning away.
And he really doesn't mince words when it comes to the consequences. This final quote makes the stakes crystal clear. In his view, walking away from his teachings is the most foolish decision a person can possibly make, one that guarantees a future filled with suffering and failure. Which leaves us with this final, really provocative question that gets right to the heart of this philosophy. The author presents a path to happiness that is absolute. It's certain, but it requires a complete transformation and maybe even a total surrender of your own mind to the guidance of another. So we'll leave you with this to think about. Is that a price worth paying?